Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again, doing another discography countdown for you today. Today I'm very excited to be talking about Kawir, one of my absolute favorite bands from Greece. Last month I did a countdown of my favorite Greek bands, and this band was right at the top, my favorite Greek band. If you haven't heard them before, strongly suggest you go check them out. They play pagan black metal. Got that typical Greek black metal sound, Hellenic black metal, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like these guys are super underrated, a little bit lesser known than maybe some of the counterparts in Greece, such as Rotting Christ or Verathron or Necromantia. These guys don't really get mentioned in the same sentence as those bands, but they should. In my opinion, they are actually better than all of those bands. The lyrics for the band are in ancient Greek, and all of the songs are basically odes to the Greek gods, just pagan mythology, and they just really bring this unique flavor to their music, and is so unique and awesome. Got a long time member, band leader, Thurtonax, might be mispronouncing that, but yeah, he's on lead guitar. There's been tons of lineup changes throughout their career, but he's been the one consistent. At the moment, he's actually going through some health issues, so not sure when or if we will get more material. Did just release a 3-song EP from 2022 with all the proceeds kind of going to him to help him in his recovery. But yeah, really, this band just really succeeds at creating this mystical, melancholic, ancient Greek atmosphere within their style of black metal. It's like raw and melodic black metal, but with these folky pagan touches and keys and like wind instruments. But they don't overdo the wind instruments and keys. It's just thrown in there in touches to really give it a unique taste, and just really one of the best in the genre at this. Like, so I mentioned bands like Rotting Christ, Verathron, Necromantia, but maybe a newer, well, not necessarily newer, but another Greek band that might be similar styled is like Macabre Omen. If you've heard them before and are into them, you'd probably be into Kawir in their later days. Even like some epic stylings of Bathory are definitely an influence. But anyways, I'm rambling on here. They've got 8 full lengths all together. I'm going to run through all 8 of those albums from my least favorite down to my favorite. As usual, give me your picks down below as well. If you know the band, let me know what your favorite album is. Give me a ranking of all 8. Let's just get some conversations going. And if you haven't checked these guys out, hopefully this video will be the inspiration you need to go listen to them. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, coming in 8th place, my least favorite Kawir album is actually their sophomore album, which is from 1999, Epopchia. I will also preface this by saying I'm probably going to mispronounce a lot of song titles and album names here, so I apologize for that. I do not speak ancient Greek, but I will do my best. So this sophomore album, this was actually an easy choice for me to come in last place. This is a lot more of an aggressive album compared to the debut, but it kind of lacks the originality that the debut had. This is more of just a straightforward approach. The atmosphere is kind of lacking compared to the debut. It doesn't necessarily have the same like charm with the wind instrumentation that other albums have. Like, it's, I don't want to call it basic, but compared to the rest of their discography, it is more of a basic straight ahead black metal album, just not as unique. I wouldn't say that it is bad, but it's easily the one that I go back to the least amount. It's not as standout as other albums. To pick favorite songs on here, Zeus is definitely my favorite track here. That one is amazing. That stands out from the rest. Easily my favorite track here. Infinite Chaos is pretty solid as well. So all in all, while I don't love this album, it is pretty decent. It's still worth checking out, but all the rest are even better. So let's get it going here. Up next at number 7, I'm actually going with the follow-up to that, which is from 2005, so 6 years later, titled Arai. So this one actually brought in a new vocalist compared to the first 2 albums, and this one kind of went back to the original sound of the debut. It has a little bit more of a modern production compared to that debut, but it brings back in a lot of the synths to add atmosphere. The riffs are maybe a little bit simplistic on this album, but at the same time, they're very catchy. I do find this a big step up from Epopchia, the sophomore album that I just talked about. But that being said, it's still not quite on par with their best. They would get even better in the future. This does just have a lot of melodic flourishes sprinkled in along with the folk instrumentation, which I absolutely love. So like all in all, this is still a pretty decent album. It's just not quite on par with their best. Best songs on here: Bind Enemies, The Curse of the Old Witch. Like all in all, this is still pretty solid. Definitely go check it out. Okay, now we're into the top 6. From here on out, I absolutely love all 6 of these albums. So those first 2 I talked about, still decent. I wouldn't hate on them at all, but these next 6 are a notch above. Definitely go check out these ones if you have not. Okay, coming in 6th place, I'm going to 2008 with the album Ophiolatria. Probably mispronouncing that. This was their 4th album. Once again, they brought in a new vocalist who would actually leave after this album as well, but then come back for 3 more albums after. But yeah, this one, I found that they really started to come into their own here, really improving on the foundations of the last couple albums. But the riffs and keys really shine here. It's just got these really memorable passages and songs throughout the whole album. It's got these even like acoustics and flutes used as well that just really add in the atmosphere, and it's just amazing here. It gives it a little bit of that unique charm that I absolutely love. There's even some clean vocals mixed in with the harsh black metal vocals as well. It kind of adds this epic feel to a lot of the songs. Most of the tracks are mid-paced, but they do throw in a little bit of speed and urgency in moments as well. All in all, very enjoyable album. Like even putting this at 6 is a little bit painful because I absolutely love this album, but their discography is so good that like from here on out, I love all of these. So it's very tough. So it's in at 6, but don't let that deter you from checking this out. Go listen to this album. It's awesome. Favorite tracks: Poseidon is probably my favorite song on the album. Just absolutely epic. The title track is great, as well as Eris, the God of War. Absolutely stand out. All in all, super solid stuff here. All right, now we're getting to the top 5, the best of the best. Coming in 5th place, I'm going to 2016 with the album Father, Son, Mother, Moon. So this one I found really dialed up the epicness, like way more epic than their previous albums. Really got strong melodic riffing on display with just these gorgeous flowing melodies and this great infusion of wind instrumentation, which they've been known for throughout their career, but it's used so tastefully here. It's just got like a blend of old school pagan black metal with the classic Greek black metal sound. My only knock on this is that maybe it's a bit repetitive in parts and maybe a little bit longer than it needs to be. Like this album is 65 minutes. The last track kind of drags on a little bit, but nitpicking aside, overall, this is a very excellent album. I absolutely love it. Favorite tracks on here: To the Sovereign Sun, Dionysus, Hail to the Three-Shaped Goddess is possibly my favorite track on the album. Like all in all, those minor nitpicks aside, this album kicks ass. Absolutely amazing stuff in at number 5. All right, up next at number 4, let's go to the album that followed that one up from 2017, Exilasmos. So this one kind of follows the template of the previous album, but trimmed down a lot. This one's only 40 minutes, which is absolutely perfect length here. And this one really brought in like a classic heavy metal influence to a lot of the riffing. So while it's still got its root in black metal, it really brought in just these classic heavy metal riffs, and it works so well. It's got like these nice twin guitar harmonies and even some nice lead work as well. It just adds another dimension to their sound that was not necessarily missing, but it's a welcome change, trying some new things while still unmistakably sounding like Kawir as well. Like it's not like they're changing their sound completely, just bringing in some different influences, and it really works. They've really developed their songwriting a little bit more by this stage in their career. Like this is their second most recent album. It's a lot more pronounced than in their early works. Once again, bringing in some clean vocals like chanting in certain places, and it still brings in those touches of wind instruments and folkiness just to give it that unique Kawir touch. Favorite tracks on here: Oedipus, Thyestia Deipna, Agamemnon. I'm probably mispronouncing all of these, but yeah, wow. Absolutely amazing album in at 4th place. All right, up next at 3rd. Going back to 2012 with their 5th album, Isotheos. Probably mispronouncing that. I can't even say it. Oh, man. But yeah, once again, this one brought in a new vocalist. This one really has a mythological, epic feeling throughout the album. And it's got just The riffs are on full display here, and it's really got a great variation in tempos between mid-pace, fast, and slower-paced stuff. Adds in the flute, clean vocals, really just folky pagan touches throughout the albums, but once again, in just the perfect amounts. They don't overdo it. This isn't in-your-face like flutes throughout the whole album. It's just when it suits it to add another dimension, and it's so well done on this album. Like, really, this album continues in the style of Ophiolatria, which was the album right before it, but I feel like it just got better. Like, they kept advancing their career, kept getting better all the time. The songwriting got a little bit more mature than early on, and this one at the time was definitely their peak. Just really awesome stuff. Got songs like Damon, Hymn to Apollo is great, to Demeter. All in all, amazing album. Okay, so that just leaves two, and this is quite the difference in time frames. The two albums I haven't talked about yet are the debut and the most recent album, so the start of their career and their end of their career. So you can tell they've had a very good career throughout, and my top two are at complete opposite ends of the spectrum. But let's see which order I am going to put them in. Drum roll, suspense, whatever. Coming in second place, I'm going with the debut from 1997 to Kawirs. This was very tough to not put this number one because this is just such a unique and amazing debut. Compared to the rest of their discography, this one's very raw and primitive black metal, but it's got loads of atmosphere with the keys and the flutes and just such a folky touch throughout, but it gives it such charm, especially for its time for 1997. That's why I absolutely love this album. I know later on the songwriting definitely got more advanced than this. The riff writing got more complex, but there's just something about the vibe on this album that just strikes a chord with me. I just absolutely love it. Like, the riffs don't need to always be complex. This just has very good songcraft, and I just absolutely love the vibe and atmosphere that this album puts out. So if you've never heard these guys before, this might be a good place to start. Go check out the debut. Favorite songs on here, the title track to Kawirs, Hermes, Artemis, front to back, great album, especially for a debut. Okay, so that maybe ruined the suspense here for my number one pick, but my favorite Kawir album, I am going with their most recent album, which is from 2019, Adrastia. So this one, compared to the rest, is just their most epic and glorious album to date. I feel like their whole career was working towards this moment, and they just really accomplished something amazing here. It's just melodic, triumphant, melancholic Greek black metal at its finest. Once again, brings in a mix of clean vocals in parts with the harsh black metal vocals that you're used to. And once again, like on Exilasmos, the guitar work here really shines, kind of bringing in the classic heavy metal feels in certain parts, and it's just got these really memorable songs. Like, this is probably their crowning achievement. It's just the culmination of their entire career, little bits and pieces from different eras. And yeah, it's just got that unique Kawir touch to it. Like, you know it's them, even though it sounds maybe vastly different than their debut. It still is unmistakably them, with those wind instruments used in certain parts. Once again, this album is only 40 minutes, which is the perfect length for this style of music. Favorite tracks on here, Tidius, the opening track, really reminds me of the epic era of Bathory. Huge influence there for sure. Atalante, Limonades, and of course the closer, Madden, epic closing song that is just amazing. All in all, front to back, this album kicks so much ass. So if you have not heard these guys before, go check out the debut, go check out the newest album, check out everything in between. Easily my favorite Greek band, severely underrated. More people should go listen to them and check them out. So yeah, these are just my thoughts and opinions. As usual, like I said earlier, love to get your picks down below. Let me know what you think of this band and what your favorite album is. And until next time, Hammerheart Metal Reviews, out.